I'm bound to a goddess system. But I'm a guy. Volume 4 My Own Kind of Beauty. Jiho's life is finally settling down after becoming a symbol of kindness around the world. He balances school, friends, and the occasional celebrity event while secretly keeping in touch with the other goddess system holders through the goddess network. However, strange glitches begin appearing in every goddess system. Quests disappear, rewards malfunction, and even Lumia's voice becomes weaker. The 12 system holders reunite to uncover the truth behind the goddess systems and finally meet the Goddess Lumia herself. Along the way, Jiho realizes that the goddess never chose him because he was beautiful, she chose him because he never stopped choosing kindness. In the end, Jiho accepts that true beauty is found not in appearance, but in the lives he has touched. The series concludes with a heartwarming, comedy-filled ending as Jiho graduates from being the goddess's chosen boy to simply being Jiho. Chapter 1, System Error. The Monday morning sun shone brightly over the school campus. For once, everything felt completely normal. Jiho stretched as he entered the classroom. I slept 8 whole hours. Minwoo looked at him suspiciously. Who are you, and what did you do with Jiho? The class laughed. Jiho smiled. I'm just well rested. Lumia floated beside him with a grin. Enjoy it while it lasts. Why do I feel like that's a warning? The morning classes passed peacefully. No reporters. No invitations. No surprise celebrity appearances. Just math homework. Jiho smiled happily. I missed boring. As lunch began, the 9 friends gathered under their favorite cherry blossom tree. Kai proudly opened his lunchbox. I cooked today. Min Jae stared. Should we call an ambulance first? I'll have you know I followed the recipe exactly. Everyone laughed. Jiho took one bite. It's actually good. Kai nearly cried. Someone write that down. Just then, ding, a familiar golden window appeared. But something was wrong. The screen flickered violently. Letters scrambled into nonsense. Main quest. Help. Kind. Error. Jiho blinked. Lumia. She stared at the screen. That's not supposed to happen. The window disappeared, then returned upside down. Quest accepted. Eat 3 trees. Reward 1 banana. Penalty, become a spoon. Jiho slowly looked at Lumia. Explain. I can't. Minwoo waved a hand in front of Jiho. Earth to Jiho. Jiho quickly smiled. Nothing. The system beeped again. Correction. Eat 3 teachers. Jiho nearly choked on his juice. What? The screen flashed red. System error. Trees. Not teachers. Jiho sighed in relief. Lumia burst into laughter. I've never seen the system glitch before. It's not funny. It absolutely is. For the rest of lunch, the system continued malfunctioning. New quest. Pet 1. Dragon. Correction. Dog. Reward. 100,000 goddess. Cookies. Penalty. Explode. Emotionally. Jiho buried his face in his hands. I think my system needs sleep. That afternoon, during science class, the system suddenly projected itself onto the classroom wall. Everyone gasped. Fortunately, only Jiho could actually read it. To everyone else, it looked like random sparkles. Warning. Loading. Loading. Still loading. Please wait. Jiho whispered. It's buffering. Lumia nodded seriously. The divine Wi-Fi must be bad. Jiho stared at her. Divine Wi-Fi. She nodded confidently. Obviously. After school, Jiho decided to visit a nearby park to relax. As he sat on a bench, an elderly woman accidentally dropped her grocery bag. Without thinking, Jiho hurried over. Let me help. He picked up the scattered fruit and carried her bags home. The old woman smiled warmly. Thank you, young man. I hope wonderful things happen to you. Jiho smiled. I already have wonderful friends. As he turned to leave, the system suddenly stabilized. Hidden quest complete. Help someone without being asked. Reward. 5,000 goddess points. Jiho blinked. There wasn't even a quest. Lumia smiled softly. Exactly. You helped because you wanted to. That evening, back home, the system flickered one last time. A new message slowly appeared. System notice. Unknown error detected. Core functions becoming unstable. Estimated remaining runtime, unknown. Jiho's smile faded. Lumia, what does that mean? For the first time in a long while, the tiny fairy didn't smile. I don't know. Outside, the The stars quietly twinkled above the city. Somewhere far beyond them, a faint crack appeared across a massive golden crystal floating in the heavens. No one noticed. Not yet. Chapter 2. Group Chat Chaos. Jiho had barely finished breakfast when his phone buzzed. Goddess Network 12 unread messages. He blinked. That can't be good. Lumia floated beside him, sipping imaginary tea. Oh, this should be entertaining. Jiho opened the chat. Emmy. Good morning, everyone. Sun sparkles. Noah. Why is my dream system playing rooster sounds instead of alarms? Daniel. My wisdom system keeps correcting my grammar, even in my thoughts. Lucas. My courage system told me to fearlessly pet a tiger. Lucas. It corrected itself to pet a tabby cat. May. My hope system keeps saying, loading optimism. Oliver. My knowledge system forgot what a potato is. Jiho. Is everyone's system broken? Everyone. Yes. Jiho sighed. I guess it's not just mine. Lumia nodded. Whatever is happening, it's affecting every goddess system. Ding. A glitched notification appeared. Group quest. System synchronization. Objective. Communicate with the other system holders. Shared today's funniest glitch. Laugh together. Reward. 8,000 goddess points. Skill. Shared laughter LV.1. Penalty. Your autocorrect becomes permanently cursed for 1 day. Jiho stared. That sounds oddly specific. At school, Jiho tried to focus on class. His phone vibrated again. He carefully checked the chat under his desk. Emmy. My joy system rewarded me with 1 potato. Ravi. Mine gave me an achievement called Professional Procrastinator. Noah. Lucky. Noah. I got sleep faster. Jiho couldn't hold it anymore. He burst out laughing. The classroom fell silent. The teacher looked over. Jiho. Would you like to share what's so funny? Jiho stood awkwardly. No. It's very difficult to explain. During lunch, the chat became even more chaotic. Lucas. My quest says. Fight your greatest enemy. It's a mosquito. Daniel. Mine wants me to teach a rock. Emmy. Did you? Daniel. It was a very attentive student. Jiho laughed so hard that Minwoo looked concerned. What's gotten into you today? Jiho wiped away a tear. You wouldn't believe me. Kai grinned. Try us. I really can't. Meanwhile, far away, Noah was lying on his bed. His system suddenly announced. Emergency quest. Take a nap. Reward. Another nap. Noah smiled happily. My favorite kind. He accepted immediately. Back in the chat. Noah. Quest complete. Emmy. You just woke up. Noah. Exactly. Everyone spammed laughing emojis. Even the usually serious Daniel sent one. Jiho smiled. These people are weird. Lumia giggled. So are you. After school, Jiho walked home while reading new messages. May. My system replaced all my rewards with cookies. Oliver. Mine keeps asking philosophical questions. Lucas. Mine congratulated me for breathing. Jiho. Honestly, that's impressive. Suddenly, the chat froze. Every screen turned gold. A new message slowly appeared. System notice. Error source not yet identified. Synchronization. 14%. Complete. Please remain connected. The message vanished. Silence filled the chat. Then, Emmy. So, anyone want to play online games tonight? Everyone immediately agreed. Jiho smiled. Despite never meeting most of them in person, it already felt like they had become friends. Quest complete. Rewards obtained. 8,000 goddess points. Skill acquired. Shared laughter LV.1. Effect. Your joyful moments naturally ease tension and help everyone around you relax. That evening, Jiho sat on his balcony beneath the stars. He looked at the lively group chat one more time. Emmy was sending stickers. Daniel was politely asking everyone to stop spamming. Noah had gone offline. Again, Jiho chuckled. Maybe. The goddess knew exactly who she was choosing. Lumia smiled warmly. 12 different people. 12 different hearts. One shared purpose. Above them, the stars twinkled quietly. Hidden beyond them, the mysterious crack in the celestial crystal grew just a little larger. Still unnoticed. For now. Chapter 3. School Festival Preparations. The first bell had barely rung when the classroom door slid open. Their homeroom teacher walked in carrying a stack of colorful papers. Everyone. It's that time of the year. The class immediately erupted into cheers. The school festival. Kai jumped to his feet. We're winning this year. Minwoo crossed his arms. We said that last year. And we still lost. Kai pointed dramatically. That was because our haunted house wasn't haunted enough. It caught on fire. Exactly. The whole class burst into laughter. Their teacher pinned a large poster on the board. Annual school festival. 1 week remaining. Every class must choose a theme. The winning class receives the Golden Festival trophy. The students immediately began throwing out ideas. A haunted house. A game booth. A maid cafe. A karaoke stage. A petting zoo. The teacher blinked. Where exactly would we get a tiger? Kai slowly lowered his hand. Fair point. Ding. Main quest. The best school festival. Objectives. Help your class prepare for the festival. Make everyone smile. Don't become the center of attention. Reward. 15,000 goddess points. Skill. Festival blessing LV.1. Penalty: you'll be forced to wear a giant mascot costume. Jiho smiled. The first two sound easy. The third one worries me. Lumia giggled. You should be worried. After an hour of debating, the class finally voted. Their theme: Spring Garden Cafe. Fresh flowers. Homemade desserts. Live piano music. A relaxing atmosphere. Everyone applauded. Jiho smiled. That sounds nice. Then, the class president stood up. Now, we need to assign roles. Before Jiho could react, Jiho should welcome customers. Absolutely. He's perfect. He'll attract everyone. Within seconds, every hand pointed toward him. Jiho froze. Me. Minwoo patted his shoulder. You lost before the voting even started. Kai grinned. You'll be our legendary handsome waiter. Jiho buried his face in his hands. I knew this was coming. The preparations officially began. Some students painted signs. Others built tables. Hannah carefully arranged flowers. Leo designed elegant menus. Mina organized schedules. Min Jae secretly sampled every dessert. For quality control, the class wasn't convinced. Jiho helped move chairs and decorate the room. He quietly worked behind the scenes. Just the way he liked it. Until a first-year student peeked through the classroom door. Excuse me, is Jiho here? Then another. And another. Within minutes, half the hallway was crowded with curious students hoping to catch a glimpse of him. Jiho sighed. There goes my quiet afternoon. Producer Yoon happened to stop by the school. She laughed. You haven't even opened the cafe yet. Jiho looked defeated. I already feel like today's customers arrived early. During a short break, the class gathered to taste test the desserts. Kai proudly presented a strawberry cake. I baked this myself. Everyone stared. Minwoo whispered, should we write our wills? Jiho took the first bite. It's delicious. Kai pumped his fist into the air. I've evolved. As sunset painted the classroom windows orange, the decorations were finally complete. The room had transformed into a beautiful spring cafe filled with flowers, fairy lights, and handmade decorations. Everyone admired their work. We actually did it. Jiho smiled. It feels warm, not because of the decorations, but because everyone had worked together. Quest complete. Rewards obtained. 15,000 goddess points. Skill acquired. Festival blessing LV.1. Effect. Your presence naturally creates a welcoming and joyful atmosphere during celebrations and community events. As Jiho packed his bag, his phone buzzed. Goddess Network. Emmy. Guess what? Lucas. We have school festivals too. Noah. Mine starts tomorrow. Noah. Can I participate while sleeping? Daniel. Number. Noah. Worth asking. Jiho laughed quietly. Good luck, everyone. He slipped his phone into his pocket and looked back at the decorated classroom one last time. Tomorrow, the festival would finally begin. And somehow, he had a feeling staying out of the spotlight was going to be impossible. Chapter 4, The Most Beautiful Cafe. The day of the school festival had finally arrived. The campus buzzed with excitement. Colorful banners fluttered in the breeze. Music echoed from every corner. Students rushed around in costumes while teachers made their final inspections. Jiho looked around with a smile. It feels like the whole school is celebrating. Kai adjusted his apron proudly. And our cafe is going to be the best. The classroom had completely transformed. Fresh flowers decorated every table. Fairy lights glowed softly along the windows. The scent of freshly baked pastries filled the air. A wooden sign at the entrance read, Spring Garden Cafe. Welcome. Just as Jiho finished arranging the last bouquet, the class president clapped her hands. Everyone, it's opening time. The entire class cheered. Ding. Main quest. The most beautiful cafe. Objectives. Welcome every guest with a sincere smile. Help your classmates whenever needed. Make the cafe unforgettable. Reward. 18,000 goddess points. Skill. Hospitality Aura LV.1. Penalty: all desserts you eat today will mysteriously disappear before you can taste them. Jiho gasped. That's cruel. Lumia giggled. Better stay focused. The cafe doors opened. Within seconds, students flooded inside. So pretty. The decorations are amazing. I heard Jiho is working here. Kai whispered. They're definitely here for you. Jiho sighed. I was hoping they'd notice the flowers. Jiho greeted each guest warmly. Welcome. Please come in. His gentle smile immediately put everyone at ease. Even nervous first-year students relaxed. The atmosphere became calm and cheerful. At one table, a little girl visiting with her older sister looked overwhelmed by the crowd. Jiho knelt beside her. Would you like to help me water the flowers? Her eyes lit up. Can I? Of course. She carefully watered a small potted flower while beaming with pride. When she returned to her table, she whispered, This is my favorite cafe. Meanwhile, chaos erupted in the kitchen. Kai accidentally dropped an entire tray of cookies. Oh no. Min-jae caught the tray before it hit the floor. Reflexes. Leo quickly rearranged the remaining desserts. Hannah calmly baked another batch. Within minutes, everything was back to normal. Jiho smiled. Our teamwork is amazing. During the afternoon rush, the line outside the cafe stretched across the hallway. Even teachers joined the queue. One teacher laughed. I've never seen a classroom cafe this popular. Producer Yoon, who had stopped by to visit, smiled knowingly. I wonder why. She glanced toward Jiho. He pretended not to notice. Later, the principal quietly entered the cafe. Instead of making a grand entrance, he simply sat at a corner table and watched. He noticed something. Jiho wasn't trying to be the center of attention. He carried trays, cleaned tables, helped classmates, encouraged tired students. Every time someone praised him, he redirected the compliment. The flowers were Hannah's idea. Leo designed the menus. Kai baked the cake. We all worked together. The principal smiled. No wonder everyone admires him. As the sun began to set, the festival came to an end. The cafe had served more guests than any class in school history. But what everyone remembered most wasn't Jiho's appearance. It was the warm, welcoming feeling inside the cafe. People left smiling. Quest complete. Rewards obtained. 18,000 goddess points. Skill acquired. Hospitality Aura LV.1. Effect. Guests naturally feel welcomed, comfortable, and at ease wherever you host or serve them. At the closing ceremony, the principal stepped onto the stage. This year's Golden Festival trophy goes to. A long pause filled the courtyard. Class 2A. Cheers erupted across the campus. Kai lifted the trophy high above his head. We actually won. Minwoo laughed. Try not to drop it. No promises. Everyone burst into laughter. That evening, the friends gathered in the now empty classroom. Flower petals still decorated the tables. The fairy lights glowed softly. Jiho looked around. I'm going to miss this. Hannah smiled. Then let's make more memories. The group took one final photo together inside the cafe. Click. Another ordinary moment. Another precious memory. As Jiho looked at the picture, his goddess system flickered for just a second. A tiny crack spread across its golden frame. Lumia noticed. Her smile faded. It's getting worse. Jiho quietly looked at the screen. He had a feeling. Something important was approaching. Chapter 5. The 12 gather again. The Monday after the school festival, Jiho was helping clean the classroom when his phone vibrated. Goddess Network. Emmy. Emergency meeting. Noah. Is it actually an emergency? Daniel. Yes. Noah. Fine. Jiho looked at Lumia. Another gathering. She nodded. This one wasn't scheduled. Her smile was weaker than usual. Before Jiho could ask another question. Ding. A golden portal appeared beneath his feet. His classmates froze in time. Once again, the world stood still. Golden light surrounded Jiho. Moments later, he arrived inside the magnificent celestial hall. Floating islands drifted through a star-filled sky. Crystal rivers shimmered beneath marble bridges. But something felt different. Small cracks now stretched across several golden pillars. Jiho quietly noticed them. They weren't here before. Lumia lowered her eyes. No, they weren't. One by one, the other system holders arrived. Emmy waved excitedly. Jiho. She ran over and nearly hugged him before stopping. Can I hug famous people? Jiho laughed. You can hug friends. She smiled brightly and gave him a quick hug. Another portal opened. Noah stumbled out, still wearing pajamas. Everyone stared. Daniel adjusted his glasses. Did you seriously come like that? Noah yawned. The portal interrupted my nap. Lucas burst into laughter. I respect the commitment. Soon, all 12 system holders had gathered. The serious atmosphere lasted about 5 seconds. Emmy clapped her hands. Before we talk about the crisis, I brought snacks. She opened a giant backpack. Inside were cookies, potato chips, candy, juice. Daniel blinked. You packed enough food for an army. I get hungry. Within minutes, the supposedly important meeting turned into a picnic. Jiho smiled. This reminds me of lunch at school. Noah accepted a pillow from somewhere. Wake me when something important happens. Just then, the giant crystal in the center of the hall flickered. Everyone immediately stood. The crystal projected dozens of floating screens. Each showed strange system errors. Beauty system core stability, 84%. Joy system unexpected reward overflow. Dream system sleep loop detected. Wisdom system database corruption, 3%. Every single system displayed warning messages. The room became quiet. Daniel stepped forward. This isn't a coincidence. Our systems are connected. Oliver nodded. If one weakens, they all weaken. Jiho looked toward Lumia. Can you tell us what's happening? The tiny fairy hesitated. I can't explain everything yet, but the goddess already knows. Before anyone could ask more questions, the crystal suddenly projected a glowing message. System notice. Synchronization progress. 38% complete. Estimated time remaining. Unknown. Then, everything returned to normal. The warnings disappeared. Silence filled the hall. Until Emmy raised her hand. Can we finish the snacks now? Everyone stared. Then Lucas laughed, followed by Jiho. Soon, the entire hall echoed with laughter. Even Daniel smiled. I suppose worrying on an empty stomach isn't productive. The 12 spent the next hour simply talking. They shared stories about school, families, funny quests, embarrassing mistakes. Jiho realized, despite living in different countries, they all had surprisingly ordinary lives. Before everyone returned home, they gathered together for a group picture. Noah had almost fallen asleep standing up. Lucas made bunny ears behind Daniel. Emmy smiled as brightly as ever. Jiho stood in the middle. Click. The very first photo of all 12 goddess system holders. Quest complete. Rewards obtained. 20,000 goddess points. Skill acquired. United Hearts LV.1. Effect. When working alongside trusted companions, everyone's strengths naturally complement one another. As the gathering ended, Jiho looked back at the celestial hall. Another small crack quietly spread across the ceiling. This time, everyone noticed. No one said a word. Lumia looked toward the distant stars. Please hold on a little longer. Her whisper was almost too quiet to hear. Jiho felt a strange ache in his heart. The comedy was still there. The laughter remained. But for the first time, the end of their journey felt real. Chapter 6, Lumia's Secret. The laughter from the celestial hall lingered in Jiho's mind long after he returned home. He smiled as he looked through the group photo of the 12 system holders. They're all so different. Lumia floated beside him. And yet, they all have kind hearts. Jiho nodded. That's probably why the goddess chose them. For a brief moment, Lumia looked away. Yes. The next morning, Jiho noticed something strange. Lumia's tiny wings, usually glowing with golden light, flickered weakly. Lumia. She immediately forced a smile. I'm fine. But before she finished speaking, her tiny body became transparent for a second. Jiho's smile disappeared. You're not fine. Ding. Main quest. Lumia's secret. Objectives. Spend the day with Lumia. Discover what she's hiding. Remind her she's not alone. Reward. 22,000 goddess points. Skill. Eternal bond LV.1. Penalty. None. Jiho frowned. No penalty again. Lumia whispered. Some things shouldn't be forced. After school, instead of going straight home, Jiho invited Lumia on a walk. The tiny ferry happily floated beside him. They visited all the places that had become special to them. The convenience store where Jiho bought her tiny desserts. The riverside where she had first taught him about goddess points. The library where Yuna rediscovered her dream. The park where he had helped countless strangers. Every place held a memory. As the sun began to set, they sat beneath their favorite cherry blossom tree. Neither of them spoke for several minutes. Finally, Jiho broke the silence. You're disappearing. Lumia froze. You noticed. You've been smiling, but your light keeps getting weaker. The tiny fairy lowered her head. I didn't want you to worry. Jiho smiled gently. I was already worried. Lumia looked toward the orange sky. My existence depends on the goddess system. Jiho quietly listened. When the goddess systems fulfilled their purpose, their guides returned to the stars. Jiho's heart sank. Return. She nodded. I was never meant to stay forever. Silence filled the park. A soft breeze carried cherry blossom petals through the air. Jiho looked down. I don't like that. Lumia smiled sadly. I know. You've been with me since the beginning. You scolded me. You teased me. You celebrated every tiny victory. You've become my family. Lumia's eyes filled with tears. So have you. The tiny fairy wiped her eyes and laughed. Remember when you thought goddess points were actual money? Jiho covered his face. Please don't remind me. And when you accidentally accepted that ridiculous fashion quest? I was tricked. You absolutely were. Both of them burst into laughter. They spent the rest of the evening remembering every ridiculous adventure. The talking mirror. The runaway cat. The beauty contest. The international interviews. The glitching quests. The sleeping Noah. The potato rewards. Every memory became another reason to smile. As the stars appeared overhead, Lumia floated in front of Jiho. I've never regretted choosing you. Jiho blinked. You chose me. She nodded. The goddess gave me many candidates. I chose the boy, who smiled even while helping others. Before he ever had a system. Jiho was speechless. You weren't chosen because you were beautiful. You became beautiful because your heart already was. Golden light surrounded both of them. Quest complete. Rewards obtained. 22,000 goddess points. Skill acquired. Eternal bond LV.1. Effect. The connections you form through genuine kindness will never truly fade, no matter the distance or passage of time. As Jiho stood to leave, Lumia quietly took his little finger with both of her tiny hands. Promise me something. Jiho smiled. Anything. When I'm gone, don't stop smiling. Jiho gently nodded. I promise. Far above the world, another piece of the great celestial crystal quietly broke away. A gentle voice echoed through the heavens. It is almost time. The stars shimmered softly, and although neither of them said it aloud, both Jiho and Lumia knew. Their remaining time together was growing shorter. Chapter 7. Celebrity Vacation. The weekend after Jiho's heartfelt day with Lumia, he was looking forward to one thing. Sleeping in. He had even turned off his alarm, wrapped himself tightly in his blanket, and declared, Today, I am doing absolutely nothing. Ding. Jiho didn't even open his eyes. No. The system chimed again. Ding. 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 Definitely no. Lumia giggled. It sounds urgent. Jiho pulled the blanket over his head. If I can't see the quest, it doesn't exist. A golden window appeared anyway. Main quest. Celebrity vacation. Objectives. Join a tourism campaign at Azure Bay. Relax with your friends. Create happy memories. Reward. 20,000 goddess points. Skill. Refreshing presence LV.1. Bonus reward. Unlimited ice cream during the trip. Jiho immediately sat up. Unlimited. Lumia smiled. I knew that would work. By noon, Jiho and his friends boarded a luxury tour bus headed for Azure Bay. Minwoo looked around. I still can't believe someone invited us all. Producer Yoon laughed. They specifically requested that Jiho bring his closest friends. Kai grinned. So, it's basically a free vacation. Exactly. Everyone cheered. 2 hours later, the sparkling blue ocean came into view. The group rushed out of the bus. It's beautiful. The beach stretched endlessly beneath the bright summer sun. Palm trees swayed gently in the breeze. Crystal clear waves sparkled like diamonds. Jiho smiled. I've never seen the ocean this peaceful. Within 5 minutes, chaos began. Kai challenged everyone to beach volleyball. Min Jae immediately dove face first into the sand. I'm one with the beach. Leo sighed. We've been here for 30 seconds. Hannah laughed. Jiho quietly sat beneath a beach umbrella. This is nice. Then, 3 children approached him. Big brother, can you help us build a sandcastle? Jiho smiled warmly. Of course. An hour later, their sandcastle had become an entire sand kingdom. Complete with bridges, tiny towers, moats, and seashell decorations. The children stared in amazement. You're really good at this. Jiho scratched his cheek. I might have gotten carried away. Nearby, Kai attempted surfing. A wave immediately knocked him into the water. Minwoo applauded. A perfect score. For falling, everyone burst into laughter. Later, the tourism staff invited Jiho to take promotional photos. He hesitated. Only if my friends joined too. The photographer smiled. That's even better. Soon, the entire group was laughing together while walking barefoot along the shoreline. No fancy poses, no dramatic expressions, just genuine smiles. The photographer quietly lowered his camera for a moment. This is the perfect picture. As evening arrived, everyone gathered around a bonfire. Marshmallows roasted over the flames. The sky turned shades of orange and pink. Producer Yoon smiled. You know, today's campaign has already become the most successful one we've ever held. Jiho blinked. Really? The audience didn't fall in love with the scenery. They fell in love with all of you enjoying it together. Quest complete. Rewards obtained. 20,000 goddess points. Skill acquired. Refreshing presence LV.1. Effect. Your presence naturally helps people relax, smile, and enjoy the moment together. Bonus reward claimed. Unlimited ice cream today only. Jiho happily accepted his 5th cone. Minwoo counted. 5 already. Jiho smiled innocently. It's unlimited. I have to respect the rules. That night, the group lay on blankets across the beach, watching the stars. No one spoke for a while. The sound of gentle waves filled the silence. Lumia floated quietly beside Jiho. Thank you. Jiho looked at her. For what? For making memories. Instead of worrying about tomorrow. Jiho smiled. We'll worry tomorrow. But tonight, let's just enjoy the stars. Lumia looked up at the sparkling sky. Her golden light flickered softly. I'd like that. Far above them, the crack in the celestial crystal quietly widened once more. But on the beach below, there was only laughter, only friendship, only another beautiful memory. Chapter 8, The World's Kindness Challenge. Monday morning, Jiho was halfway through his first class when, ding, 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 his phone buzzed, then buzzed again, and again. The teacher looked up. Jiho, is your phone trying to escape? The class laughed. Jiho scratched his cheek. Sorry. He quietly silenced it. During lunch, he finally checked the notifications. Goddess. Network 187 new messages. What happened? He opened the chat. Emmy. Everyone wake up. Noah. I was already asleep. Lucas. We accidentally started something. Daniel. Accidentally is a generous description. Jiho. What happened? Emmy. Look outside. Jiho looked out the cafeteria window. Students were cleaning the school garden together. Some were picking up litter. Others were helping carry books for teachers. No one had been asked. Everyone was simply helping. Ding. Global main quest. The World's Kindness Challenge. Objective. Inspire one act of kindness. Let that kindness inspire another. Don't force anyone, lead by example. Participants. All 12 Goddess System holders. Reward. 25,000 Goddess points. Skill. Ripple of Kindness LV.1. Lumia smiled. It has begun. Jiho tilted his head. What has? The final mission of the Goddess Systems. Across the world, the 12 system holders each completed one small act of kindness. Emmy organized a free community picnic. Daniel spent the day tutoring struggling students. Lucas volunteered at an animal shelter. May visited children in a hospital. Oliver donated hundreds of books to rural schools. Noah fell asleep in a park. He woke up beside an elderly man struggling to carry groceries. Without thinking, he helped. The old man smiled. Thank you. Noah yawned. You're welcome. Later, he proudly posted in the group chat. Noah, quest complete. Emmy, you helped after waking up. Noah, technically. Jiho laughed. At school, Jiho noticed a nervous first-year student trying to carry several heavy boxes alone. Without hesitation, I'll help. The student smiled gratefully. Thank you. Another student saw them and joined. Then another. Within minutes, several students were helping move supplies. No one knew why they had started. They simply wanted to help. Jiho quietly smiled. That evening, news stations around the world reported something unusual. Neighborhood cleanup projects, free meals, blood donation drives, volunteer groups, people helping strangers, not because they were told to, but because someone else had inspired them. The reporters called it the World's Kindness Challenge. Social media exploded. Hashtag Kindness Challenge. Hashtag One Good Deed. Hashtag Passaton. Millions participated. The 12 system holders watched the messages together through the Goddess Network. Emmy, look, Lucas, our shelter has twice as many volunteers. Daniel, my students are tutoring younger children now. May, the children are smiling so much today. Jiho, this isn't because of us. Everyone paused. Jiho, people already wanted to be kind. They just needed someone to remind them. Silence filled the chat. Then, Daniel, I think you're right. Quest complete. Rewards obtained. 25,000 goddess points. Skill acquired. Ripple of kindness LV.1. Effect. A sincere act of kindness from you naturally inspires others to continue the chain, creating waves of goodwill. That night, Jiho stood on his apartment balcony. He looked across the city. A teenager helped an elderly neighbor cross the street. Someone returned a lost wallet. Children shared umbrellas in the rain. Tiny moments. Quiet moments. Beautiful moments. Lumia floated beside him. The goddess systems were never meant to create heroes. Jiho looked at her. They were meant to remind people of the kindness already inside them. Lumia smiled proudly. You finally understand. High above the world, the cracked celestial crystal glowed softly. For the first time, the spreading cracks slowed, as if the countless acts of kindness were gently holding it together. Volume 4 Chapter 9, A Day Without the System. The next morning, Jiho woke up to an unusual silence. No cheerful voice, no floating fairy, no familiar ding. He sat up. Lumia. Nothing. The room remained quiet. Jiho looked around. Lumia. Still nothing. He checked his phone. The goddess system app was gone. No quests. No notifications. No goddess points. It had completely disappeared. This isn't another glitch, is it? At school, the day felt strangely ordinary. Jiho kept instinctively waiting for a quest window to appear. It never did. Kai nudged him. You've been staring into space all morning. Jiho smiled awkwardly. Just thinking. During lunch, the Goddess Network was also silent. No messages from Emmy. No sleepy updates from Noah. No random philosophical quotes from Daniel. The group chat simply didn't exist. Jiho quietly looked at the empty screen. I kind of miss all the chaos. No quest appeared. For the first time, there wasn't a single mission. No rewards. No penalties. No glowing windows. Nothing. After school, Jiho walked home alone. As he crossed a busy intersection, he noticed an elderly woman struggling with several heavy shopping bags. Without stopping to think, he hurried over. Let me help you. The woman smiled gratefully. Thank you, dear. Jiho carried her bags all the way to her apartment. When she thanked him again, Jiho instinctively looked up, waiting for quest complete. Nothing. No golden light. No rewards. Just the old woman's warm smile. You've made my day. Jiho smiled back. I'm glad. As he walked away, he realized something. He hadn't helped because of a quest. He had helped because that's simply who he had become. Later, a little boy dropped his notebook in the park. The papers scattered everywhere. Without hesitation, Jiho helped gather every page. Here you go. Thank you, big brother. Again, no reward, only a happy smile. On the train home, a tired office worker accidentally fell asleep and nearly missed his stop. Jiho gently tapped his shoulder. Excuse me, I think this is your station. The man blinked awake. Oh, thank you so much. Jiho laughed. No problem. One kind act, then another, then another. Without realizing it, he had spent the entire day helping people. Not because anyone asked, not because the system guided him, simply because it felt natural. That evening, Jiho sat quietly on the apartment balcony. The sunset painted the sky orange. Lumia, I wish you were here. Just then, a soft golden light drifted beside him. For a brief second, Lumia appeared, transparent, like a fading memory. She smiled gently. You did wonderfully today. Jiho's eyes widened. Lumia. Before he could reach out, she slowly faded away again. I didn't need to remind you anymore. Her voice echoed softly before disappearing. Tears welled in Jiho's eyes. But he smiled. I guess I've finally grown up. A hidden screen appeared. Unlike every quest before, it contained only one sentence. Kindness that needs no reward is the truest beauty of all. The message slowly dissolved into countless golden petals. No reward, no points, only those words. Far above the heavens, the cracked celestial crystal shone brighter than ever. Its fractures were no longer spreading. Instead, warm golden light flowed through every crack, as though the countless acts of kindness across the world were healing it. Chapter 10, The Last Gathering. The following weekend, a familiar golden light surrounded Jiho. But this time, there was no cheerful ding, no quest window, no playful message from Lumia. Only silence. Jiho looked at the tiny fairy. It's time, isn't it? Lumia nodded softly. Yes. The golden portal opened. Jiho stepped through. One by one, the other 11 goddess system holders arrived. Emmy gave everyone a small wave. She wasn't her usual energetic self. Noah was awake. Everyone immediately knew this meeting was serious. The celestial hall looked different. The floating gardens had begun to fade. Several crystal bridges had disappeared. Golden pillars were covered in glowing cracks. Yet the stars above shone brighter than ever. Almost as if they were trying to comfort everyone. The 12 gathered together in silence. No one knew what to say. Finally, Lucas forced a smile. So, anyone bring snacks? Emmy slowly raised a paper bag. I did. Everyone laughed, even if only for a moment. Then, the giant crystal at the center of the hall began to glow. A warm, familiar voice echoed through the heavens. My beloved children. The goddess Lumia appeared before them. Not as a distant light, but in her true form. She smiled at every one of them. You've all done wonderfully. Each system holder saw memories floating around them. The first quest they completed. The first person they helped. The friends they made. The lives they changed. Small acts. Ordinary moments. Together, they had changed the world. The goddess spoke gently. The goddess systems were never created to make heroes. They were created to remind humanity of the kindness that already exists within every heart. Jiho smiled quietly. He already knew. The goddess looked toward the 12. The systems have fulfilled their purpose. One by one, golden windows appeared. Final system notice. Mission complete. Thank you for choosing kindness. No rewards, no points, only gratitude. Emmy wiped away a tear. I'm going to miss this. Daniel smiled gently. So am I. Noah yawned. I'm going to miss the nap quests. Everyone burst into laughter. The goddess chuckled. I expected nothing less. She raised one hand. The 12 glowing system emblems floated into the air. Instead of disappearing, they transformed into 12 tiny stars. Each star drifted gently toward its owner. When Jiho's star touched his chest, it dissolved into warm golden light. Not as power, but as a memory. The goddess smiled. My gifts may fade, but your kindness never will. Suddenly, the great celestial crystal cracked one final time. Everyone looked up. Instead of shattering, the crystal blossomed into countless golden butterflies. They filled the endless sky. Every butterfly carried the light of a completed journey. The celestial hall itself began to dissolve into sparkling stardust. Lumia floated beside Jiho. She gently took his finger with both tiny hands. One more gathering, just like we promised. Jiho smiled through teary eyes. And just like always, we laughed together. Before anyone left, the 12 stood shoulder to shoulder. No powers, no systems, just friends. A glowing camera appeared in front of them. Click. Their final group photo. One that would remain forever among the stars. As everyone prepared to return home, the The goddess gave them one last smile. Live happily. Help others when you can. And never forget, true beauty is the kindness you leave behind. Golden light surrounded the 12. One by one, they returned to Earth. Jiho was the last to leave. He looked back. The celestial hall had almost vanished. Lumia smiled at him. I'll see you. One last time. Jiho nodded. I'll be waiting. The portal closed. The stars continued to shine. Quietly. Endlessly. Chapter 11. Goodbye, little Lumia. A warm breeze drifted through Jiho's open window. The morning sunlight painted soft golden patterns across his room. Jiho slowly opened his eyes. Lumia. The tiny fairy floated near the curtains, smiling as brightly as ever. Good morning. For a moment, everything felt normal again, but both of them knew. This would be their last full day together. Without a system notification, without a quest, Lumia clapped her tiny hands. I made today's schedule. Jiho blinked. You did. She proudly held up a tiny handwritten list. Today's adventure. Eat delicious food. Visit our favorite places. Laugh as much as possible. No crying. Jiho laughed. That last one is going to be difficult. Their first stop. The little bakery near the station. The owner smiled warmly. Jiho. Your usual. Please. He bought 2 cream buns. Even though Lumia couldn't really eat anymore, she happily pretended to take tiny bites. Still delicious. Jiho smiled. You always said that. Because it always was. Next, they visited the Riverside Park. The same bench where Lumia had once explained goddess points for the first time. Jiho chuckled. I thought I could spend them like money. Lumia laughed so hard she nearly fell out of the air. You actually asked if there was a goddess ATM. Please. I've grown since then. A little. By afternoon, they wandered through the shopping district. Lumia insisted on judging every store display. Pretty. Too sparkly. Needs more flowers. Absolutely unacceptable. Jiho laughed. When did you become a fashion critic? I've always been one. As the sun began to set, they climbed the hill overlooking the city. It had become their favorite place. Countless memories had started there. And now, one final memory would end there. They sat together in comfortable silence. The city lights slowly flickered on below. Lumia looked at the horizon. Jiho. Do you remember your very first quest? Jiho smiled. Help one stranger. You were so nervous. I thought I was going to fail. But you didn't. She gently floated onto his shoulder. You never failed. Not once. Jiho shook his head. I failed lots of quests. You missed objectives. You panicked. You embarrassed yourself. You accidentally accepted ridiculous missions. Jiho laughed. That's true. But, you never failed at being kind. A single tear rolled down Lumia's cheek. I couldn't have asked for a better partner. Jiho's own eyes became watery. I couldn't have asked for a better friend. The wind carried glowing petals around them. Lumia's body slowly became transparent. She looked down at her tiny hands. It's almost time. Jiho quietly nodded. I know. She floated in front of him one last time. No more goddess points. No more quests. No more rewards. She placed a tiny glowing hand over his heart. You already have everything you need. A soft golden light spread through Jiho's chest. Warm, gentle, comforting. Lumia smiled through her tears. My greatest reward was getting to know you. Jiho reached out carefully. His fingertip gently touched hers. Thank you for changing my life, for believing in me, for staying beside me. Lumia's wings dissolved into shimmering golden feathers. One by one, the light around her drifted into the evening sky. Her final words were barely louder than a whisper. Keep smiling. Okay. Jiho smiled, even with tears in his eyes. I promise. The tiny fairy disappeared, not with sadness, but with a peaceful smile. Golden butterflies rose into the twilight and vanished among the stars. Jiho remained on the hill until the first stars appeared. The evening felt quieter than ever before. Yet, he didn't feel alone. A gentle breeze brushed against his cheek, almost like a tiny hand saying goodbye. Jiho looked up and smiled. Goodbye, little Lumia. High above the world, one new golden star quietly joined the countless others. Its light sparkled just a little brighter, as if a tiny fairy was still watching over the boy she had always believed in. Chapter 12. A world that keeps smiling. The day after Lumia's farewell, the world felt quieter. No cheerful voice greeted Jiho in the morning. No golden windows floated before his eyes. No tiny fairy reminded him to hurry for school. Only the gentle sunlight streaming through his bedroom window. Jiho smiled softly. "Good morning, Lumia," even if no one answered. On his way to school, an elderly crossing guard greeted him. "Good morning, Jiho." "Good morning." As Jiho crossed the street, he noticed several elementary students helping one another carry heavy school bags. He couldn't help but smile. It really is spreading. At school, the atmosphere was brighter than usual. The gardening club had filled the courtyard with colorful flowers. The volunteer club was collecting donations for a local shelter. Students who rarely spoke to one another were chatting and laughing together. Minwoo looked around. Has the school always been like this? Kai grinned. Maybe people are finally noticing each other. During lunch, Jiho sat beneath the cherry blossom tree. His friends gathered around him as always. No one mentioned the goddess system. No one knew it had ever existed. And somehow, that made every ordinary conversation even more precious. Kai dramatically held up his lunchbox. "I made today's lunch myself." Min Jae took one bite. "I'm still alive." Kai gasped. "That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me." Everyone burst into laughter. After classes, Jiho visited the Riverside Park, the same place where he had shared so many conversations with Lumia. He quietly sat on the familiar bench. A small breeze stirred the cherry blossoms. For just a second, he thought he heard a tiny voice. "Keep smiling." Jiho looked around. No one was there. Still, he smiled anyway. As he walked home, he noticed something beautiful. The little girl he had once comforted at the school festival was now helping another child tie their shoelaces. The elderly woman whose groceries he had carried was giving homemade bread to a lonely neighbor. The office worker he had once woken on the train gave up his seat for a pregnant passenger. Small kindnesses, passed from one person to another, without anyone realizing where they had begun. That evening, news channels around the world shared heartwarming stories. Communities planting trees together, students tutoring younger children, neighbors helping rebuild homes after storms, volunteers feeding stray animals. The reporters smiled. It seems people everywhere are choosing kindness. No one knew why. No one needed to. Jiho stood on his apartment balcony beneath a sky full of stars. He placed a hand over his heart. The goddess system was gone, but the warmth inside him remained. "I understand now. The system was never the miracle. We were." A single golden butterfly drifted past him. It circled once, then disappeared into the night sky. Jiho chuckled. "Was that you?" The breeze answered with gentle warmth. Far above the heavens, among countless stars, a tiny fairy watched quietly. Lumia smiled proudly. "My work is done." The goddess stood beside her. "You chose well." Lumia nodded. He never needed powers. He only needed someone to believe in him. Together, they watched the earth below. A world still laughing, still helping, still smiling. As dawn approached, children laughed on their way to school. Neighbors greeted each other warmly. Friends shared meals. Families embraced. The world continued turning, filled with ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And somewhere, in every sincere smile, in every helping hand, in every act of kindness, the light of the goddess still quietly lived on. Chapter 13, Until We Meet Again. A week had passed since Lumia's farewell. Life had settled into a new rhythm. No glowing windows, no goddess points, no mysterious quests, just life. And somehow, Jiho found himself smiling just as often as before. One crisp Saturday morning, Jiho received a message in an old group chat. To his surprise, it wasn't the Goddess Network. It was a brand new chat created by Emmy. Friends Forever, 12 members. Jiho blinked. 12 members. He opened it. Emmy, since the systems are gone. Emmy, we still have each other. Heart. Lucas, best idea ever. Daniel, I approve. Noah, I was asleep. Emmy, we know. Jiho laughed. Some things never changed. A few days later, the 12 finally met again. Not in the celestial hall. Not through magic, but in the real world. They had chosen a peaceful botanical garden as their meeting place. Cherry blossoms swayed overhead. Flowers bloomed in every color imaginable. For the first time, there were no portals, no glowing light, only trains, buses, And one very confused Noah, who had boarded the wrong one twice. Jihoo. Emmy ran over and hugged him. I've wanted to do that without a countdown timer. Jiho laughed. It's good to see you too. Lucas arrived carrying a camera. We're taking proper photos today. Daniel adjusted his glasses. As long as nobody makes bunny ears behind me. Lucas slowly lowered his hands. You saw that. I always see it. Noah finally arrived. 30 minutes late. I'm here. Does this place have a bench? Everyone burst into laughter. The day passed peacefully. They explored flower gardens, fed koi fish, shared homemade lunches, played silly games. Kai somehow convinced everyone to join a relay race. Noah participated by cheering from the finish line. At one point, Jiho wandered into a quiet rose garden. The gentle breeze carried flower petals through the air. He smiled. You would have loved this, Lumia. A tiny golden butterfly landed on a blooming white rose. It fluttered around him once, then disappeared into the blue sky. Jiho's smile softened. I'll take that as a hello. Later that afternoon, the 12 gathered beneath an enormous cherry blossom tree. Lucas carefully set up his camera. This one's important. Everyone found a place. Emmy stood beside Jiho. Daniel folded his arms with a faint smile. Noah yawned. Kai grinned so widely that everyone laughed before the photo was even taken. Click. No magic. No powers. Just 12 friends. As they looked at the picture together, Emmy whispered, "We're still connected." Jiho nodded. "We always will be." That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, everyone prepared to leave. There were no emotional speeches. No dramatic goodbyes. Only simple promises. Let's meet again. Don't disappear. Message the group. And Noah, set an alarm. I'll try. As Jiho walked toward the station, he glanced back. His friends were still laughing together beneath the cherry blossoms. He smiled warmly. Until we meet again. Far above the evening sky, a tiny golden star twinkled brighter than the rest. Almost as if someone had heard him. Chapter 14. The Promise Lives On. Spring slowly gave way to summer. The days grew warmer. The cherry blossoms had long since drifted away. Yet, the memories they carried remained. Jiho's life had become wonderfully ordinary. He attended classes, laughed with his friends, helped strangers whenever he could. There were no system windows, no magical rewards. Still, every evening, he found himself looking up at the stars. Not because he was waiting for another quest, but because he wanted to say hello. One afternoon, Jiho and his friends volunteered at a newly opened community garden. Children planted flowers, parents painted benches, grandparents shared gardening tips. The whole neighborhood worked together. Kai proudly held up a tiny sunflower. I grew this. Minwoo looked at the crooked stem. It certainly grew. Everyone laughed. A little girl approached, Jiho carrying a wilted flower. Mister, I think I broke it. Jiho knelt beside her with a warm smile. Flowers are stronger than they look. He carefully replanted it and watered the soil. Sometimes, they just need a little care. The little girl smiled brightly. I'll take good care of it. Nearby, an elderly man watched the scene. You remind me of someone. Jiho tilted his head. Really? The old man smiled. Someone who always believed people could become kinder. Jiho looked up at the blue sky. I knew someone like that too. As the sun began to set, the volunteers gathered to admire the completed garden. Rows of colorful flowers swayed gently in the breeze. Children laughed as butterflies fluttered among the blossoms. The mayor stepped forward. This garden isn't just made of flowers. It's made of kindness. Everyone applauded. That evening, Jiho and his friends sat on the grassy hill overlooking the city. Just like old times, no one spoke for a while. The sunset painted the sky with shades of orange and pink. Kai broke the silence. You know, we've all changed. Minwoo nodded. For the better. Emmy smiled. And we're still changing. Noah yawned. Can we keep changing after a nap? Everyone laughed. Of course. Jiho looked at each of his friends. Then toward the stars beginning to appear overhead. I used to think kindness disappeared after it was done. He smiled softly. But it doesn't. It keeps living. Inside the people who receive it. The group quietly nodded. Just then, a gentle breeze swept across the hill. Dozens of golden butterflies appeared from nowhere. They danced above the flowers before soaring into the twilight sky. For a brief second, Jiho thought he heard a familiar laugh. He smiled. Thank you. Far beyond the heavens, Lumia watched the butterflies with shining eyes. The goddess stood beside her. You miss them? Lumia nodded. Every day. The goddess smiled gently. They're doing exactly what you hoped. Below, the earth glowed warmly. Countless small acts of kindness spread from one person to another, like ripples across a peaceful lake. As the first stars filled the night sky, Jiho stood and stretched. Let's come back next year. Everyone smiled. It's a promise. 12 friends. One promise. A future filled with ordinary days and extraordinary kindness. Chapter 15. The most beautiful ending. 1 year later, spring had returned. Cherry blossoms once again danced through the gentle breeze. The world looked almost exactly the same. And yet, everything had changed. Jiho stood beneath the old cherry blossom tree outside his school. He had grown a little taller, a little more confident, but his gentle smile had never changed. Kai walked over with his usual grin. You're daydreaming again. Jiho laughed. Just remembering the old days, the best days. Life had moved forward. Emmy had become a youth volunteer leader in her hometown. Daniel was studying to become a teacher. Lucas had become a travel photographer, capturing smiles around the world. Noah still loved naps. Some things truly never changed. Even though they lived in different places, the 12 friends still spoke every week. Their group chat remained as chaotic as ever. That afternoon, Jiho visited the community garden. The tiny sunflower planted by the little girl a year ago now stood tall among hundreds of blooming flowers. She spotted him immediately. Big brother Jiho. She ran over happily. Look, I took care of it. Jiho smiled proudly. You really did. It became beautiful. The little girl shook her head. It became beautiful because everyone helped. Jiho paused, then smiled even wider. You learned the most important lesson. As evening arrived, the 12 friends reunited once again on the same grassy hill overlooking the city. They laughed, shared food, told embarrassing stories. Kai insisted he was a better cook now. No one believed him, not even Kai. When the sun dipped below the horizon, the sky filled with countless stars. The conversation gradually became quiet. Jiho looked upward. You know, I still say goodnight sometimes. Emmy smiled softly. To Lumia. Jiho nodded. Every night. The others looked up at the stars as well. No one laughed. Instead, they quietly joined him. Good night, Lumia. Their voices carried gently into the night sky. Far beyond the heavens, a familiar tiny fairy smiled brightly. Lumia looked toward the goddess. They remembered. The goddess smiled. Kindness is never forgotten. Lumia watched Jiho one last time. He wasn't the shy boy she had first chosen anymore. He had become someone who inspired kindness simply by being himself. I knew you could do it. A single golden tear drifted away, transforming into countless glowing butterflies. They floated gently toward the earth. Back on the hill, the butterflies surrounded the 12 friends. No one questioned where they had come from. They simply smiled. The warm breeze carried flower petals through the air. Jiho closed his eyes. Thank you. At that exact moment, a little boy nearby helped another child stand after falling. An elderly couple laughed together while tending flowers. Friends shared umbrellas during a light spring rain. A stranger returned a lost wallet. Tiny acts, ordinary acts, beautiful acts. The kindness continued. Without needing a system, a gentle golden light briefly shimmered around Jiho. Not magic, not a quest, just the warmth left behind by every life he had touched. He smiled, not because he had become famous, not because he had completed every mission, but because he had discovered the greatest truth of all. True beauty was never about appearances. It was about the kindness we leave behind in others. The stars shone brilliantly overhead. The 12 friends stood together, looking toward tomorrow. Their story had ended, but countless new stories were only just beginning. Epilogue. Far above the endless sky, the goddess smiled. Another tiny light appeared among the stars. Not a new system, not another quest, just hope. She whispered softly. The world is beautiful, because people choose to make it so. A warm breeze swept across the earth, carrying laughter, kindness, and countless smiles, toward a brighter tomorrow. The end. Thank you for listening to II Fiction Stories. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. See you next time.